What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL, leader of the handmadeandbeyond.com website and community. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur, an Etsy expert, and business coach who's figured out how to make my entire living with my handmade business. Each week, I'll dive into strategies and success tips to help you with your handmade business, with Etsy, and everything in between. Let's dive in. All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. Thanks for listening. Glad to have you guys back as always. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, a good week, and everything is going well for you. For me, this last week has been one of those weeks where everything breaks, which is like not the fun part of adulting. I had my dishwasher break, my dryer broke. So it's just, I'm waiting for the number, usually things come in threes. So I'm waiting for the third thing to break. So it just kind of stinks dealing with that, but I'm sure you guys have all been there where it's like, come on, man, cut me a little bit of slack, that everything doesn't have to break all at once. Anyways, so diving in, enough about my stuff breaking because you guys don't care about that. But to this episode, I think it'll be a little bit different, but it's something that you guys have probably ran into, and it's what I think it'll be cool to kind of touch on these things. So I want to talk about Etsy anomalies, right? The weird things that sometimes happen with Etsy or with customers or sellers on Etsy. So I'm going to talk about 5 anomalies. I'm sure there's a lot more, but these are the top of mind things that I thought of when I wanted to talk about this topic, that so you guys can say, well, I'm not crazy. These things happen to me, or I've noticed these things. So just so you know, there is anomalies with everything, in life and in Etsy. So you're not crazy. It's just one of those things that you have to deal with. Things are not going to be perfect, especially as an entrepreneur. You have to be a problem solver. So if you're not good at problem solving and you're not good at overcoming issues and weird things, you're probably not going to like being an entrepreneur too much, because there's always something that comes up that we have to deal with. It's just one of those things that happens. But the nice thing too about being an entrepreneur is you're dealing with your problems and not someone else's problems most of the time. So that's what's kind of nice. All right, so let's dive into this topic today. So the first anomaly I want to talk about, and this is a big one. You guys have all been there. Sales tank for seemingly no reason. So things are going good, they're going consistent, they're going steady, or they're increasing, and then all of a sudden, no sales for periods of time. Maybe it's one day, maybe it's a week, maybe it's even a month. And you can't figure out, you didn't change anything. There's nothing that you did. You didn't change your SEO there. You didn't turn off ads. You didn't delete listings. You didn't add a bunch of listings. So there's really nothing that you did, and you just can't figure out what happened. And I see people all the time, in forums and things like that, where they're completely freaking out because their sales have tanked and the sky is falling, and they think that their business is just going to fall because they're having a really bad week or month or whatever. So, and this happens, there may be nothing that you did wrong. And, it may be seemingly no reason that they tanked, but it may not be something that you did or caused. It may be something that's outside of your control. So there may be an algorithm change, which any of these big companies, Google, Etsy, eBay, they all are consistently updating their algorithms. What they want to do is they're focused on the best buyer and customer experience as well, bringing the best products to the people that want them. So the whole reason behind it is to get more sales, to get more revenue, to get more profits. So they don't want to mess up things for you, but sometimes they tweak stuff and it may impact your store. It's just one of those things that happens. There may be some type of seasonality that you may not realize that's not really a season, but with your niche, it may affect your sales. So that may be something that has happened. There may be some type of worldly issue or problem or outside factors that are causing the dip in sales that's not within your control, that it has just happened. Maybe it's something with the economy. Obviously now we're dealing with pandemic issues, which overall has helped e-commerce, but depending on your niche and what you're selling and your products, it could have hurt you as well. So there's two sides of the coin. So even though there's seemingly no reason, there may be a reason. It's just something that you don't control that's kind of out of your hands. And some people just spend all this time trying to figure out what happened, trying to get to the bottom of what happened, and this time and energy. And really, if you didn't do anything, it may not be related to something that you did that impact that. So don't get so caught up in what happened, because it is a done deal. It is a sunk cost. So focus on your actions that can maybe help your business going forward. So maybe you didn't directly control your dip in sales, but you can control what you do going forward to maybe help your sales in the future. Maybe you do want to add some new products. Maybe you want to change your SEO. Maybe you want to tweak some stuff with how your shop and your branding looks. There's a lot of things that you can control, that you can focus on. So that's why I always tell people is, the things that are out of your control, don't get caught up in that, because that is going to be wasted energy. Shift your focus to what you can control, actions that you can take to drive your business forward. And that'll help you help the momentum, and down the road, your business it'll pay you dividends in your business. You may not see it immediately. You may be frustrated right now, but down the road, those changes that you made, those actions that you took, will help you in the long run. So think about it that way, shift your focus a little bit, but that is just something of selling online. You deal with some weird sales issues from time to time. And there's always ebbs and flows. That's why it's always good to look at it on a window of time, not look at it on a day, every day, even though you probably do look at it on every day. But how are you doing month over month, year over year? That'll kind of help even it out, and know if there's a real problem that's happening. If you're down 20% year over year, then there's something really going on. But if you're looking at your year over year numbers and you're right on course, or you're a couple percentages off, it's probably just, like I said, a weird anomaly. So I wouldn't get too wrapped up in it. So on the flip side of that, maybe sales increase, which is good. It's not really a problem. That's what we want. But I do see that side of the coin as well, where someone will go, maybe they average $200 a day or $100 a day, whatever the number is. And then one day they have, like a $500 day or $600 day. And then the next day they drop back down to $100 day. And that's usually their average. So they're like, oh my God, why did this happen? And they just may have hit on something at the right time, with the right algorithm, with the right customer base, and it blew up that day, and then it just averaged itself back out. So obviously people struggle because they get that taste and they want to keep it. Again, the same things apply. You don't directly control that. You can focus on actions to maybe get you another $600 day. But unfortunately, it's not a switch you can turn on and off. And that just happens, which can, I think, sometimes even be more frustrating, because you're like, oh man, I want to keep those. If I made $600 a day every single day, I'd be sitting pretty. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, but it's one of those weird things that happens that can be frustrating, even though it was a positive thing. The other thing that I see a lot is, stats anomalies within your list, within your listings or within your dashboard. So weird discrepancies where maybe things don't line up. You have maybe 0 visits and 100 views, or like 2 visits and 1,000 views or something like that, where it's kind of weird, or your stats are super inflated, or you have no stats, or they're super low. There's a lot of outdoor there's a lot of things, Etsy, sometimes things break, where it's a common thing. They make tweaks, they make updates, and it just may break something. So they have to go back and fix it. There may be bots, there may be invalid clicks. So that's why looking on your stats every day on a daily basis can be confusing, because there may be some invalid clicks, bots, something broke where it's not completely right. And then Etsy will go back and clean that up and fix it. So while that day may be off, if you go back and look at it the next day, it may be correct. So that's why it's always good to look at your stats on a window of time. I prefer like a 30-day window to really see what's going on, because looking at stuff every day, while we do still look at it every day, it's really not going to tell us the same story as if we look at it on a window of time, because that, 30 days is a time frame that gives us enough data to make decisions. You really can't make decisions on a daily basis because there's ebbs and flows. Things mess up, things break, and there's that's just the way that it is with selling online. There's going to be discrepancies, there's going to be ups and downs. So look at your stats and your business on a window of time, and then make decisions based on that. It's like the stock market. If you look at your stock one day, it may be down, the next day it may be up. So if every day you made a decision to buy or sell, you're never going to get anywhere. That's why good rule of thumb is to buy solid stocks and hang on to them, because eventually they will slowly go up, hopefully, depending on the company, but that's what you want. So that's why day trading is very risky, because it changes every single day. So it doesn't give you a good time frame of how things are going. All right. So the next anomaly I want to talk about is, and this is something that you may see from competitors or just on listings in general, is you may see a listing which we would consider that has terrible SEO, and it does really well. It's selling pretty well. And I've seen this a couple of times. It's a weird anomaly, which it can be a little frustrating because it makes no logical sense. Maybe the title has 2 words, and maybe their tags have a couple of words, and they're not necessarily great descriptive keywords, but the listing's doing great. It's just one of those weird things that happen. Maybe they hit it at the right time. Maybe they ranked for those even though they have very few keywords, maybe they ranked, and they're in a good niche, they have a good product. And like I said, it's like a lightning rod. They hit it at the perfect time. And that listing, once, if you list something and it does well right away, it will stay in search. It'll stay on the first page, and it will continue to do well. So that's why it's really good to come out of the gate with a strong SEO foundation or a strong SEO framework in your listing, so it does well and then it continues to do well. But even with what I would consider bad listings, they still can do well. Now, that doesn't go without saying, or it goes without saying, sometimes a squirrel will find a nut. So don't take that as a reason to change your listings to not have great SEO, not do keyword research, and not have plenty of solid keywords in your listings. Because overall, if you are sticking with strong SEO, you will do better overall than just trying to find a nut every now and again with not so good SEO. So I would rather give my listings the best chance of success than being lazy about it and not filling out the keywords and having strong keywords. So I wouldn't take that, I would just take that with a grain of salt, and, just move on with what you're doing, because, I've been there. I've seen that, many times, but more often than not, the solid SEO listings, the solid, those that put the time and effort and have, solid keywords, do better more times than the ones that aren't as good. So just keep that in mind if you do find the listings. So don't take it as as a reason to change your stuff. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say on that, on that one. So the last one I want to talk about is Etsy marketing sometimes messes up, which is a weird anomaly. So you can set up, what I mean by Etsy marketing is you can set up coupon codes for people that favorite your items and add items to the cart. So it's a good way to increase your conversion. But sometimes, for whatever reason, those emails don't go out. They're supposed to go out within 24 hours to those people. So you may see that, you only get a couple, or you don't get any some days. So there is, for a while, that was hit or miss. It was broken, and I don't know why. I tried reaching out to Etsy with little avail. They didn't let me know what was going on. So there was discrepancies there. But I noticed too that on the top dashboard, it'll tell you sends, and that sometimes would show little or none. But then the bottom, where it has all your coupons listed, those numbers will be correct. So there's a discrepancy between the two dashboards. So I would check that too. Another thing that sometimes happens is if people aren't logged into their account, it may not recognize them, or they're logged in from a different device, or it may not recognize them. Therefore, it may not be able to send those emails out. So I think if they're logged in as a guest and they add something to their cart, it probably doesn't know who they are, so it can't send them an email because it doesn't have an email for them yet. So I think sometimes that causes the discrepancy there. So there's a number of things that can happen, but overall, I think it's a good thing to have set up. It's a positive thing, but it may it may not be perfect, but it is something that I've seen that a lot of people talk about, where there is anomalies there where the stuff doesn't get sent out. But definitely, it's not a reason not to have it set up, because it will still work. It just may not work all the time or as well as you guys want. But I definitely would recommend having it set up, because it's free email marketing that Etsy offers, and it will help your conversions. It will help entice people to come back and buy from your shop, which is ultimately what we want. More people to buy, more sales, and then we can celebrate and keep going forward. So that's it for today. Those are the 5 anomalies that I really wanted to talk about. That's not the end all be all. I'm sure there's other ones, big and small, out there that I missed. Those were the top of mind ones that I wanted to hit on today, just so you guys can see if those have happened to you. Maybe look at it from a different angle, another perspective, but just know that those things happen to me and other sellers as well. It's just one of the things that you have to deal with, whether you sell on Etsy or on your own website, or another third-party website. There's always weird things that happen, things that you have to deal with, things that you have to get used to, things that you have to figure out. It's just part of the gig, part of something that we have to deal with. You got to look at it glass half full, not let it keep you down, get you down, keep moving forward, shrug it off, and on to the next thing. So that's it for today, guys. That's what I wanted to leave you with. Hopefully that helps out. For those of you that need the extra help, support, mentorship with your Etsy businesses, I would love to have you in the Handmade and Beyond community. You guys can still get in there for 30 days free, test drive everything out, get full access to all the resources, see that it is the real deal. I take a lot of time and effort and energy into helping and doing everything I can for my members to drive their businesses forward, whether they need me to look at their shop, need to look at listings, they need help with SEO, email marketing, they need help with branding, whatever the case may be. I'm in there helping them in the forum. Then we have monthly live coaching. And then I have a bunch of courses, walkthrough courses with all the strategies that I've used and am currently using to grow my Etsy business to the top 1%. I think there's over 30 courses in there that you guys can dive into, digest, learn, and implement in your shop. But if you get confused, you need help, that's why the forum's there. That's why I do the live coaching as well. I spend a lot of time dedicated to my members, because I want to see them be successful. I know how hard it is, especially early on in your journey starting. You feel alone. You don't know where to go, what to focus on. So that can be really tough. So that's why I wanted a multifaceted community and membership to help in different ways for different learning styles. So jump in. There's a link below. Introduce yourself to the help forum today. Get help today. Start answering or asking questions, rather. I'd love to jump in, take a look at your shop, see what you're doing, and help you guys out. But until next week, hopefully you guys have an awesome rest of your day.